All right, so now I need to replicate my models to match my tables. So add class session DTO. And inside of session, I have prop int ID, prop string name, prop string description, prop string room, prop int capacity. Let me add another class before I forget. User session. Prop int user ID, prop int session ID. I prefer my D's to be lowercase. All right, so we'll actually get to cover a little bit more entity framework goodness while we're in here. All right, so let's do session because that's the easier of the two. So we need a table attribute from system.componentModel.dataAnnotations.schema. And in here, we're going to connect to the session table. Yay. We need another attribute assigning the key. That comes from system.componentModel.dataAnnotations. I've always wondered why they're in two different namespaces.
Because why is what in one?
Huh?
Why is what in two different namespaces?
Why is table in a different namespace than key? It's a personal thing. Anyway. So identify the ID as the key field. All the rest of my column names match, so I don't have to do anything fancy. Data types are standard matching. No big deal. So that one's done. User session takes a little bit more work. This is actually user session. Notice the class name and the table name are different.
Why is that not called a DTO?
That's because I forgot to put the word or letters DTO at the end.
Okay, I mean, you don't have to do that.
Huh?
I was just wondering.
Okay. That's because I got ahead of myself and didn't put DTO. There's no reason, you're not required to put DTO. That's a convention on my part. Okay? Now we have to mark both of these as key. Because they're both part of the key.
Is there anything you have to do in the database to make them both the key?
Yeah, that was when I was dancing. I'm jumping. Did you see me do that?
No, that's what
I did it twice. You just have to watch the video and just listen to me jump and dance and everybody laugh.
It's not the same experience.
Well, hey, you know. All right, we have to do one more thing here. In my database, my columns are called user underscore ID and session underscore ID. Here, I drop the underscore because it's weird to code that way. But it makes sense in the database. Why? And this is kind of a preference thing, but you may come to enjoy it. The field indirectly describes what table and field it's the foreign key to. Because user underscore ID means go to the users table and look for the ID field. Session underscore ID says go look at the sessions table and find the ID field.
Is that why you didn't have to? Is that just like in the naming convention sense, or is
Naming convention alone. There's no, so I have not created any strong couplings. I have not explicitly in the database defined these as foreign keys. It's simply by convention. Now I can go through and build my foreign key relationships and set up all of that. Perfectly valid. Aside from data integrity, the only other thing that you gain is the ability to do cascades. Indexes don't get built dynamically because of you defining those in SQL, so you still have to build foreign key indexes if you want to actually get performance gains for having the foreign keys. If none of that made sense, that's okay.
so does that mean you're not going to be making the relationships for your database?
Do you want me to?
Do you have to? too?
I do not.
I did it for mine, just as Bill showed me how.
I can walk you through it. I don't mind. I'll walk through it. Well, let's get this first. All right. There's another attribute called column. It takes a string, and that string is the actual column name from the database. So user ID and session ID respectively. That's to ensure that we're looking at the right columns. I don't know why that gap is there. Now it's gone. All right. So the last thing in setting up our DTOs, we have to go back to our project DB context and add 2 more DB sets. Public DB set for session DTO. Public DB set for user session. Alright, F6 to build.